It might seem like your fascinations and obsessions and hyperfixations are random, but they're not. It might seem like the things you love, the things you fixate on, things you invest time and energy, attention and money into only to drop a few weeks later, might seem like they're random. They're not random. It's hard to see the connections while you're zoomed in. It's hard to see the way that things come together when you're looking forward. You won't know how it all connects until you can reflect and see. It was never one thing in isolation that made you what you are. A collective of your experiences, your loves, your pains, your passions, the friction, the flow, everything comes together to create synergy. We speak about intuition as if it was ineffable, something totally mysterious and beyond our control. And in a way it is. Intuition is the capacity your subconscious has for pattern recognition. It sees things before you are consciously aware of them. Maybe you're never consciously aware of them. But the contextual memory, the database of associations and information and sensation is vaster than we could imagine. And so when you feel drawn to something, you have that intuitive pull, the magnetism that we feel indicates that something is for us. We recognize a pattern that the subconscious is saying is aligned with us in some way. And we're not always able to tell what that way is. If we could control intuition, I don't think it would be intuition anymore. It would be control. Part of intuition is surrendering to the fact that you don't know, but you feel. You don't know, but you feel. No, the fascinations are not random. They are part of a sensitive, vibrational matrix of knowing that exists because of the network of itself. There is no one component that is greater than the others. It exists as an ecosystem. You contain multitudes. And so the fascinations are not random. We may look at the fascinations from the perspective of our conditioning, which demands that sense must be made in order for something to be tangible, real, possible, appropriate. But the truth is, you are not qualified to make sense of everything, even if it's something in you. You're not qualified to say how these things will come together, and any attempt to determine them, to decide exactly how these things will play out, blocks you from unfolding into the mystery of unknown potential. Do you want to know? Truthfully, do you want to know exactly how it all comes together? Are we not doing this to find out? Are Are we not doing this to contribute in our own way to the universe's understanding of itself by exploring the contrast and friction that comes from a hyper-subjective, individualistic experience on this dual plane? There's nothing on the other side of yourself. And so we navigate contrast and friction and pain and joy and love and heartbreak because that is life in full expression. And when your intuition is in full expression, and you continue surrendering the how, it all unfolds in the most brilliant way. I want that for you. I want it for me, for sure. Who am I to be telling you this? Who am I to be saying these things? I am a collection of patterns, of associations and biases, beliefs, behaviors, perceptions, and I am learning that I don't need to know. Nor can I. Not in the conventional sense of knowing. Because what I know changes depending on how I feel. Feeling shapes my perception. The perception forms my relationship. And the relationship forms my knowing of something. Because what I know is as powerful as how I know it. And when I can trust the feeling, trust the magnetism, trust the resonance of a body that sings in agreement, in response to what is calling for me in this resonant world. And there's a balance between effort and ease, intuition and instinct, between doing and non-doing, knowing and non-knowing, and that process of discernment is a significant portion of the process, even if we don't know where that process is going. You couldn't know. You're not qualified to say how far you can go. You're certainly not qualified to say what you can't do. So no, your fascinations are not random, but they're also not defining of what you are. Labels, definitions, these things will never capture you in your entirety, but they can certainly carry you for a while. And sometimes that's what we need in order to get an idea of who we are right now and what we're doing next. For years, I called myself a photographer, and then I was afraid to post my videos. I was a nurse before I left conventional healthcare and decided I needed to take another avenue. I didn't know how it would end up, but I needed to soften my grip on my current self-narrative in order to allow the transformation to occur. It's like one of those 3D images that you can only see if you soften the gaze. because if you focus too hard, everything takes on a level of sharpness that results in contrast. When we soften the gaze, and the edges can blur and fuse together, we see a greater, more global image, rather than the fixation of zooming in and focusing on the little details. And again, there's a time for that too. And something that comes to mind here is the sunken cost fallacy, which is that feeling that you've already put this much in, so it would be crazy to pivot and jump ship now. And there's an attachment there to our work. There's an attachment to the idea of what we should be doing, an idea around what is acceptable, an idea around how you should work. And it's not to say that these ideas are incorrect, but once again, if we can soften our grip on the narrative, allow a little more pliability, we might find that some dots are not for what we thought they were for. That a dot you thought would be a career was actually compost for the garden of your life, and like any good, healthy soil, life comes from a rich array of death. The healthiest soil is full of death, because creation is equal parts connection and destruction. So no, your fascinations are not random, but they also mightn't be what you think they are. One of my favorite ways of expressing this is Abraham Hicks talking about portals in the vortex. Collaborative elements, cooperative components, some ideas, some projects, some passions are really there to give you a skill, a tool, an idea, a friend that will help you go where you're going next. Side quests turn into main quests. Main quests turn into distractions. But above it all, there is a web, beautiful little pathway to follow.